Hey everybody, this is Perch. I hope you're having a good day. Whatever's going on in your life, I hope it's things are going well for you. Wherever you happen to be. Don't want any negativity today. We got a mail here. It says, "Is rogue marketing a thing?" It says, "Hey Perch, I enjoy channels such as yours, Critical Drinker, Wes, Zach, and others who give good takes on comics and discussions on nerd stuff, especially comics." Okay, sounds good. It's funny. I've gotten an increase, I would say, in the last few weeks, warning me that my channel is lumped into some of the baddie channels, and that if I want to keep growing as a channel, I need to publicly denounce some of these channels. Now, I used to be on Wes's show quite a bit, but he doesn't like me anymore, so I'm not. Unfortunately, I don't go on that. No, I'm just kidding. I just don't do live streams. Haven't for quite a while now. I'm sure it's all fine. I haven't heard from Wes in a long time though, so maybe I did piss him off. It's quite possible. Anyway, it's the first time I've had him. His channel is more lumped in, which maybe is a sign he's making it now, getting bigger, because he's officially joined the list of the baddies you must renounce. I'm not sure exactly what that renouncing would be, or why people would want that, or what even that. It's just stupid to me. Like, listen to what you want to listen to, and call it a day. But there's been this uptick of renouncing the bad people. You have to renounce them. If you don't renounce them, then I don't know. Bad things could happen to you, I guess. There's never, I always kind of wish there was the threat laid out. Like, if you don't do this, then we're going to come kill your puppy. Or just say it. What is the threat there? It's silly. Anyway, I don't know. I have a feel it's kind of, I've come to believe that when you come to an election, and we're coming up on the midterms here in a few months, that people start to lose their minds more. I think it's a polarization of politics that you people really get invested in us versus them around this time period. It's pretty sad. Pretty sad considering that the people you're voting for, either party, I'm just going to say it, don't give a shit about you. Just that's my personal belief. I know. But that's my personal belief is that none of them care. Anyway, but I won't go down that list. Back to the mail. We've gone far astray from the mail. Anyway, just thought it was weird. I'm getting a lot of these, I'd say night letters, but they come during the day. So just letters, I guess. Anyway. All right. It says, back to the mail, it says, "You did a video recently where you said something that I had thought too, that Rings of Power, the Amazon show, Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, woke shenanigans, or whatever you want to call it, were almost entirely contained to marketing. Not only did it not feature in the show, but some things like the dwarf princess were a bait and switch. A recurring theory idea I've heard from other channels and some journalists is that the whole woke phenomenon stems from progressive marketing department employees who believe in the whole a media company is a platform for educating the viewers idea, and they're the ones that create the impression that a show, movie, or comic is going to be woke sometimes to the chagrin of the creators. Is there anything to this? Do these corporations take their cues from marketing departments that viewers and readers want this stuff? Is that the issue? Or is it more an overall failure of, in some cases, the comics, just poor editorial? But then I'd ask, doesn't editorial take heed of what marketing tells them? I don't work in marketing or anything, but I do know that you, unlike many other channels, actually do have friends in marketing and advertising, and I do understand those aren't the same thing." No, that's fair. So I think, a video I did a bit ago talking about kind of, the hate marketing or hate approach or fan baiting. And then there's a guy who did a really good Twitter thread, I thought, on fan baiting. And to me, it's all kind of lumped into the same category. I do think, and if you're really, really hard into this fight, like, I think that in this kind of the general woke, not woke, all that kind of stuff, you have kind of three camps of people. Two smaller camps and one bigger camp. The two smaller camps are the more extreme camps. One camp is, this is great. This stuff is wonderful. We love it. The people who hate it are all racist, bigot, Nazi, blah, 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 blah. And the other camp is this is overwhelming, everywhere you look is a feminist woke agenda, blah, 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 that just this kind of extreme kind of sides. And then the biggest group, I think, is the group that kind of, knows this is going on, doesn't really feel that invested into it, and pretty much just kind of has the bar of, am I going to be entertained by this or not? If not, I'm out. If so, then I'm not going to be fixated on whether this bit character over here is black or not, or if dwarves can be black. Just the majority of people view this stuff as like, is this entertaining to me? Yes, I'm watching it. Period. That's it. Um, but what I think does happen is that I think the marketing departments, and bear in mind, in corporation, marketing is usually not that strong. Meaning marketing can't overrule content, but marketing does tend to operate in its own silo to a large extent. Marketing kind of like, if you think about a company, typically you have compliance, which is pretty tied into things. You can have engineering. If it's tech company, they're very central. You can have finance and operations, which tend to be pretty core. And then you have the not auxiliary groups, but the groups that get a little bit more autonomy from the others. And that tends to be marketing. Legal is like that. Usually HR kind of sits in its own little zone. And those groups tend to have their own kind of biases and their own ways of wanting to do things. It's pretty common, forget about the woke aspect and all that kind of stuff. It's pretty common that marketing operates not in conflict, but in isolation from the product that's being produced. It's very common in movies in Hollywood that, the content creators will make something and then it will be, handed over to marketing. And you've seen examples probably in your life of places where the marketing campaign for whatever it is completely, out of left field. It doesn't seem to fit the movie. And people speculate of, well, the company didn't believe in the movie, so marketing kind of run amok. Usually that's not the case. Usually it's just marketing had their own vision, completely different from the content creators, and they went off and did their thing. So I do think that marketing goes for attention. That's kind of the definition of marketing, is to get attention for your product and promote and everything else. And I think there's also there's a lot of credibility to the idea of hate marketing or fan baiting, or basically we're going to put something out. We're going to try and get attention. It may be very unhealthy attention, but we're going to do it anyway. We're going to really kind of promote some of these aspects of the show that are going to get people riled up. And keep in mind, a lot of marketing departments are still very much in the mind of Twitter and Facebook and likes and Instagram, attention is good attention. And it makes sense if you're a marketing department getting judged like, hey, how did this campaign go? Well, it's often hard to tell solid metrics on your marketing. If based on like quality and content, how much somebody liked something. I mean, granted, you can get ultimately box office numbers if it's a movie, but in a lot of cases, people credit the movie for that. People credit the actual content itself for that attention. Marketing is able to say, hey, we did a good job today, or look at how strong our marketing department is. We ran a campaign with, 500,000 likes. And then on top of that, it's easy to cheat. So, I think it is, I don't know, people have speculated. I can tell you it's 100% true that, big companies, the Warner Media, Disney, buy bots to promote and highlight the campaign. That's why you will see a tweet saying, hey, the Pinocchio, which is a god awful film that came out. I mean, again, I've got two daughters. They are meant to like this kind of stuff. That live action remake was just shit awful. But they post a like get into the adventure with Pinocchio or something on Twitter, and it gets like 500,000 likes. And you look at that, you're like, there's no way 500,000 people like this ad. And it's because they didn't. They ran bots against it. And by the way, this isn't a speculative thing. Disney has said they run bots again. They've said they do. They said they run marketing campaigns and they use feeder accounts and all kinds of stuff to get attention. They don't believe they're doing anything wrong. And I mean, maybe they're not. It's only wrong if you believe there's inherent value to the likes. I don't think there is. So I mean, it's just kind of throwing money down the drain, but Disney has that money to do it, so fine. So if you're a marketing department and you know that you can hate market against something, you can basically put some stuff out and say, and I do think the Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power team knew exactly what they were doing when they went out and they made a really aggressive push to say, we're being more inclusive with this show. They dropped all the buzzwords, and again, maybe somebody in there believes that this is something that they're doing, but the dwarf, this female, black female princess dwarf, got prominent marketing in the film. Not a prominent role in the film, but prominent marketing, and everybody reacted. It was a very predictable response that the people lost their minds over. And I think, quite frankly, a lot of the people, and I did go and listen to a couple of videos. Some people recommended Just Some Guy. I think Just Some Guy clearly likes Lord of the Rings or knows Lord of the Rings. It's like I've said from the very beginning, I'm not a fan of Lord of the Rings. Don't hate it, just don't care. I don't know the lore, so it doesn't matter to me. But he cares about it. So he actually has some, he can go into the books and cite all that stuff. Cool. Most people commenting on Rings of Power are not him. They're not that. They're just into whatever outrage is next in the culture war. Now that Black Panther is coming up, we're going to get a nice, healthy 6 weeks about, Namor. But, for a lot of people commenting, clearly didn't watch the show, didn't know the show, because there are videos out there from big names talking about this major character, this Black Dwarf character, who I think had less than 3 minutes of screen time over 3 hours. So it gets the reaction that people are going for, meaning they go all in on diversity, inclusion, and all the kind of buzzwords that are going to get people all frothy and angry about it. And then, the actual show comes out, it's different. The part, as I've said in the other thing, is I don't think any of this works. Not with comics. The comic sales are not high when, members of the X office were going to say, that was a quote, we're going to gay up your X-Men. Who was that? It wasn't Teeny. I think it's Vita. I don't know. One of the writers. We're going to gay up your X-Men. Okay. It didn't bring in new readers. The sales didn't go up. The audience didn't go up. It didn't really go down either. Lots of people complained about it. Lots of videos were made. But in general, it's just like people looked at that and I think generally thought, well, this has shit all to do with anything. And if they were buying the X-Men, they probably kept buying the X-Men to keep their runs unbroken. And if they were, gay, they didn't go, well, now I have to buy the X-Men. And if they're a casual, reader, none of it really matters, but it gets lots of attention. It gets, in comics case, and I know editors have said this before, like, hey, we did a tweet talking about, Jane Foster, and it got over 1,000 likes. Like that's some kind of accomplishment that matters for anything. So I think a lot of this, the woke kind of stuff, it's polarizing. It gets attention. It gets engagement. And marketing departments are all about engagement. Let's get this engagement. Let's get people excited about it. Let's you're positive or negative. I've said it before. It's the Eric Bischoff quote, controversy equals cash. It doesn't, if you look at the outcome, but it at least gives people the illusion that something is happening. And that's what a lot of marketing departments, sometimes editorial, are going for. They're looking for the illusion that something is going on, that progress is being made. Again, most of this content is not woke. A lot of the marketing is far more polarizing and baits into this stuff than the actual content. So what does that mean? So, but anyway, having talked about all this, so what? So what do we do? I guess ignore it. If something looks good to you, watch it. If it doesn't, don't. I guess the only takeaway is if you are an outrage channel or a blogger or whatever, and you're going to do a lot of videos or whatever about, the wokeness of something, it's probably worth watching it. If you're doing it purely on the marketing, there's a good chance you're getting baited. You're getting, tricked. into giving something attention that isn't even doing the thing that they are saying it's doing or you're saying it's doing. Nobody is saying it's doing. But I mean, I guess in the case of the Lord of the Rings series, The Rings of Power, what else have you got? I still maintain, and I'm keeping up. It's a torture though to watch that show. For me, again, I'm not a fan, and some of you are. Some of you are liking it. Cool. Literally, you should watch what you enjoy. I find myself dreading watching that show. So we're still going, and my wife's out. Like the other day, we sat down, and she's like, okay, there's a new one." Like, yeah. I mean, why not? I have my laptop. I'm processing videos. And my wife's like, all right. She settles into the couch. 10 minutes in, I look over and she is dead asleep, just out cold. And, I just let it play. And then she kind of wakes up like, I don't know, 45 minutes later. And I'm like, oh, you missed some stuff. I'm like, I wrote down the time when I noticed you went to sleep. Do you want me to rewind it? And she's like, I'm good. I'm good. I'm like, oh, you missed. Like, I actually didn't miss anything. They just kind of wandered around, looking angry some of the time. There really nothing happened. She's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. That is my review of Lord of the Rings. Put your wife to sleep. Anyway, thank you very much for the mail. I don't know, is rogue marketing a thing? Yeah. I mean, but I don't know it's necessarily rogue. It's just, it's off doing its thing to try and get attention, whether it has anything to do with the content or not. That's my take. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. Like and subscribe, of course. And thanks for listening.